There you go.
Thank you, Dylan. And wow, so good to see everyone here. Last year on this stage, we launched Dev Mode, a new space in Figma built entirely for developers to easily access everything they need to figure out what to build and to understand how to build it, helping developers implement designs faster and more accurately. To date, teams have marked over 4 million designs as ready for dev. Now, that's a lot of stuff to build. And over the past year, we've continued to make huge improvements to Dev Mode with things like the annotation tools, a revamped compare changes, and much more. These releases, as well as hundreds of other improvements, have been driven by you, our community. And we wouldn't be where we are here today without your feedback. So please keep it coming. We continue to read it. So what's next? Today, we're introducing some huge updates to Dev Mode to support the realities of an iterative design process. We want to simplify the inspection of large files, making it easier to find what you need. And we want to help you bring your code and design closer together to speed up all those developer workflows. With that, let's jump in. OK, so as a designer, this file probably looks pretty common. There's a bunch of riffs here, different ideas, and just a whole lot of work in progress. And this can be a bit messy, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. We know that good design takes a lot of iteration. Speaking of iteration, I recently made some updates to one of the designs here. Today, when I make these kinds of changes, it's not immediately obvious when I'm finished making my edits. But now, this frame has a new yellow indicator. It's in a new edited state, as you can see. Launching today, I can now click on this and remark it as ready for dev, leaving a note describing the changes. In this case, I added some spacing. There, I'm done with my changes. Now, let me put on my developer hat here. And just like this, the file is starting to look a bit scarier. What do I need to work on? And am I even looking at the correct version? That's something I ask myself every single day. Now, we shipped ready for dev last year, which helps. But we want to make it even easier for you to find what you need, and especially when designs live across many different pages in the file. So today, we're launching the new Ready for Dev view, which I can find here at the top left of any file with Ready for Dev content in it. With this new view, I can see all the different work in progress and everything that's ready for dev in the file, hiding anything that's not relevant to me as a developer. Yeah, I like it too. So here at the top, for example, we can see this message that Dylan, or myself, my designer persona, just left me, where we added some spacing. So let's click into this to get some more details. This brings us to Focus View, which we're also introducing today. Focus View cuts out all the canvas clutter and just shows me the design that I actually want to inspect and nothing else. On the right-hand side here, yeah, you can clap. That's allowed. On the right-hand side here in Focus View, we can also see a list of all the changes that have been made to just this frame. And it looks like, in addition to those spacing changes, Dylan also changed some things related to the responsiveness of the design. I can quickly select a version here in the past to see the differences, and I didn't see that many differences, which means this will probably be pretty quick to implement. But I do want to check on those responsiveness changes just to make sure. Now, of course, I could click into every single layer here and inspect the Flexbox properties. That's going to take a long time, too long for this keynote. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the prototype viewer. Once it loads here, I'm going to resize, and well, this is not exactly what I want, right? It's just scaling the design up and down. But launching today, we have a new responsive setting for the prototype viewer. With this, I can easily see how my design should work across many different screen sizes, giving me the confidence that I am implementing it correctly. So now that I'm done implementing my changes, all I need to know is to let Dylan know. So launching today, we now have the ability to mark a design as completed, which I'm going to do. This will send a notification to Dylan and really close that loop. But of course, designing products is never a linear process. So when more updates roll in, say Dylan changes his mind, the designs will go back to ready for dev state and also send a notification back to me again. We hope that these new ready for dev flows will help you and your teams better stay in sync in what can be a messy process. But this process doesn't end in Figma. Your designs also need to maintain consistency as you go to code and eventually reach your customers. Many of you rely on design systems for this. But all the benefits of having a great design system in Figma kind of go out the window if developers aren't using it as well. One of the reasons this is difficult today is that what you see in dev mode doesn't always reflect what you actually have in your code base already. Let's go over here and inspect this button to show you what I mean. When I click on this button here, it's not immediately clear to me that we already have existing React code for this component in our code base. And the last thing I want for somebody to do is re-implement this button like 10, 20 times. Not only does that waste a whole lot of time, but you're also likely to miss design details or forget about important things like accessibility. So this is why we built Code Connect, which is launching out of beta today. Code Connect is a way for you to bring your design systems directly into dev mode. And you've actually already seen this technology in action. It's the same tech that powers the code for the UI kits you saw earlier. But now I want to show you how you can make use of Code Connect for your design systems. So let's jump into VS Code quickly. Code Connect uses files that live in your code base to create a link between your code and your Figma component. And sometimes for good reason, components in design and components in code are just set up and structured differently. You work in different ways, and that's OK. With the Code Connect SDK, you can describe these differences with a few lines of code, which is what we've done here. Once we're done, all we need to do is run a command to publish these changes to Figma. Oops. Let's see if I remember this command. There we go. Let's head back over to dev mode. So we'll soon see this code show up for this button. But remember, it's not just any code, but it's actually real code from your own design system. And there it is. As we select other component, yes. As we select other components, like this card here, you can see that we also have code for these. Let's stick to this button and open up the component playground. If you don't know the component playground, here you can change props and variants and so forth to get a sense of your design. And the great thing with Code Connect is, as we toggle these things here, you can see that the code automatically reflects what is in the design. Let's say hello to our wonderful community, for example. And you can see that the code updated. So the code is always in sync with your designs wherever you view them. We believe Code Connect is really going to help teams drive adoption of their design systems to ensure that code that already exists is never being rewritten. A couple weeks ago, we sat down with the team over at Spotify to hear about their experience with Code Connect. So let's play that video.
Came out and I did this big Slack post as like, forget developing something internally, let's just go all in on Code Connect. And all the emojis, everybody's like, yes, no brainer, just do it, just do it. And we very quickly, within those 2 days, turned around implementing it for the entire design system. We were able to make an assessment that Code Connect will save engineers time. We were able to see that the ROI made it a no-brainer to continue rolling out Code Connect across the other engineering disciplines.
Huge thanks to the team over at Spotify. Hearing about their success with Code Connect and how quickly they got it set up has been super exciting for me. OK, so that was a lot of new functionality for dev mode. To recap, Code Connect is out of beta today with new improvements like surfacing the connected code in the component playground, a faster setup process, and support for React, React Native, iOS, and Android. We're also launching the Ready for Dev view, Focus view, and new statuses for edited and completed. Code Connect for UI kits will be available on Pro and above, and all other features will be available on organization and enterprise plans. And everything is available starting today.